Welcome to the Speaking and Meditation podcast. You can find everything about me. You can scan the QR code or go to roycollin.com and you'll find my 6 podcasts along with podcast coaching, or if you want to do a podcast tour. And I've also launched my school podcasting group where I'm helping existing podcasters, or if you're looking to start, and I have a lot of good content in there. If you're looking for virtual assistants, go to va.world. My guest, as you can see, for those watching on BitChute, YouTube and Rumble, lovely background, beautiful smile, which we always like to see, positive energy. She's a global brand identity strategist, a business educator, retreat host, and visionary behind BridgetBrands. With a background that spans from the skies as a flight attendant to the boardroom, the university hall for over 2 decades, and in the entrepreneurial world, she helps individuals and organizations uncover their brilliance and build aligned, authentic brands that radiate impact. She is the creator of the transformational personal branding retreat I Am Becoming, designed for high-achieving women in transition, ready to reclaim their identity and rise into visibility. She is also the host of the BrandsTalk podcast, a sought-after speaker and a best-selling author, known for fusing strategy with soul into everything she does. From Austria, please welcome Brigitte Bojkowszky. I know it's
Hi, Ray. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, it's Brigitte Bojkowszky. It's the German or the Nordic version.
Okay. So, I mean, I want to learn everything you're doing, but I suppose your kind of first main thing was flight attendant. You might tell us a bit about that, how you got into it and your journey, because I think you've done that for about 5 years, yeah?
Yes, it was very, very early in my life, and it was actually also my first job. I always wanted to become a flight attendant as a child, and I worked towards that. That was my first vision, to do that, and it was a wonderful 5 years and set me up for everything else that was coming afterwards. It was a really, really good start into this life, into business life, and also for me as a person, I could really, um, yeah, I think mature through that. At that time, it was not so much regulated as it is now. And so I really learned how to conquer life. And what I learned also here is the commitment to service in excellence, or to serve in excellence. So that's where I first learned how to um, to create this exceptional experiences on board. And that's where my passion for excellence first took root. And it also opened me up to new cultures, to the cultural diversity, and also the human connections you have with people from different cultures and different mentalities. And I think that is really important nowadays, since we are living in a globalized world where we meet people, where we deal with people, where we work with people, whether within a company or as a as a tourist traveling around. You learn how to approach people, what is appropriate and what is not. So that's what I've learned from my time as a flight attendant. And also, of course, it's the traveling for me is like, going here, going there, easy peasy. It's nothing that I need to prepare that much anymore, because I know how it is to travel. And so it's something very normal for me. And I have become a cosmopolitan. I love traveling. I'm a global person, and it also helped me a lot afterwards, in corporate and also as a teaching professor, because I taught international marketing and management. I'm a business educator. So that also helped me with all the different students coming from all these different countries around the world, from countries in Africa, from South America, from Australia, Southeast Asia, Europe, all over Europe. It helped me to really help also those people to get an understanding of each other. So that was really, really fun and interesting. And I think I also could teach others how to, maneuver, navigate through a culturally diverse world. And also seeing the common denominators, because we're all people. There is always something that connects. Yeah.
And I was just curious when you were like traveling around, because I worked around in construction in Ireland for a few years, and like sometimes you'd be staying in the hotels, and at the start it's kind of great, but then it kind of gets. Did you, when you were traveling to different countries, was it a case of, I mean, obviously there's a lot of, you're tired because you've had a hard day's work kind of looking after, as a flight attendant, but did you get time to kind of wind down, or were you just kind of going to the hotel room, having a sleep and back on the flight again?
No, at that time, we didn't have then that many airplanes, long haul or large body aircrafts. And so when I had like a Bangkok, Sydney, I was going to Bangkok. I was staying there for 5 days. Then I was going to Sydney and staying there for a week. And then I come back to Bangkok, staying another 4 days, and then flying back to Austria. Or I had routes that I was in Bangkok for 10 days and I had a Hong Kong flight in between, because airplanes rotate all the time, and there's a crew that gets on board once you land there, and they take the plane to the next destination and so on. So it's something that is, there's a rotation going on, and if you have more destinations than planes, then you need to wait and sit on an island for a week or something, and you have to find things to do. And we explored then the countries at the beginning, and then you find places that you really love and you visit again, and you get to know the people. And that was the beauty. When I was in Bangkok for 10 days, it's like living there. And I was there maybe 2 times a month. So I was more in Bangkok than I was at home, or more on a Caribbean island than I was at home. Or sometimes Sri Lanka, it's an island southwest of India. I was a lot for a week. And this is something, I mean, nowadays, I think airlines cannot afford anymore. And also you have just a different dynamic because of airlines consolidated and then streamlined, and you just cannot afford that anymore nowadays. But for us at that time, it was a huge learning. It was the best school ever for me also as a woman, as a leader, being responsible for a crew. And that helped me a lot as a corporate, but also as a professor. I never really had difficulties, because when you are trained to function, to take leadership, and especially in a high-risk environment where life can be at threat, you can have an emergency anytime, then you get to know yourself very, very well. And nothing can be as bad as knowing, okay, this is an emergency and the possibility you die is really high. So, being on the show today, of course, you always have the stage fright and something is coming up. What if I, don't know an answer to this? Or this becomes kind of irrelevant when you just ground yourself again and think about what can happen if you fail. And even though it's a failure, it's a learning, it's a growing. It's not in a high-risk environment. You have to perform and, have to go along procedure. And there are things that are happening and you have to manage. Yeah, and this is it. So, it puts the foundation. It was a really, really good school for me.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So if we look at, say, like the branding in the airlines, and like one of the biggest airlines is Ryanair, an Irish company, but you've got, EasyJet and a few of them, they've kind of taken the joy out of it. And I'm just curious for you looking at that, because at one sense they're advertising everywhere. They've got like, like Facebook, Instagram, where it's like jokes and, it's funny to the posts that they do and interact. But the user experience is actually terrible. And I don't know anybody that's happy with, whether you're 1 kg overweight or your wheel is sticking out, or just that they kind of shuffle you down the stairs. You're waiting on the stairs for half an hour. That's not how it used to be before when I used to travel. And I just got like, I mean, obviously you've been seeing how it's done properly to the way it's kind of done now. It's like cattle mark.
Yeah, I mean, I can only say that, when you mention Ryanair, or EasyJet, those are discount airlines. Those airlines are solely competing on price. It's not about a certain prestige that you want to convey. It's, it's always at the end of the day is what kind of perception or what kind of image you want to create in other people's minds. Yeah, you're putting yourself out there with all these messages. At the end of the day, you want your client to feel something about you. That applies to corporations, that applies to leaders, to people, to everything. Yeah. And these are competing solely on price. And for the people who fly that airline, they also think about, I need to get there. It's actually the cheapest way how to get there, and they book. What kind of reputation they have, I think, is secondary. However, it needs to be safe. So safety is of utmost importance. Yeah, I just don't want to go very much into that.
No, I get it, yeah. But I mean, if we look at that on, say, the branding of companies, then if we go to individuals, like, because there's two types. There's that type that are like cheap and cheerful, a race to the bottom. And then there's the kind of like the Virgin Airlines, the high quality, because people do both.
It's the question of what you want as a passenger. It's the question, do I want to go with an airline that I feel comfortable with, that that has that shows an identity of prestige, of a certain experience that you have on board, this excellence, this, they are taking care of me. If you are looking for something like that and you have the money to afford that, then you rather go with that airline. But if you think, okay, I need to save money. I'm not affluent, but I want to go on holiday. And very often there is no other way than just, go with the cheaper one. But then also with that along comes a user experience that is not as fun as, or not as comfortable as with an airline that offers other things. But also, I mean, when you fly with a flagship carrier, they also have different, different sections and different ticket prices. You can go first class, you can go business, you can go economy. So there is all the different offers. I think they try to appeal to everyone. Yeah, but I know that certain destinations are only flown by certain airlines, so there is not much to choose from. Yeah.
So
I don't know whether this answered your question, but
no, it's good.
But it's at the end, it's how you want to present yourself as a brand. This is the first question that you need to ask yourself. How do I want to come across, and what kind of image do I want to create in the market with my identity as a corporation? And also for the people who work there, can I associate myself with that company that I work for? Because there needs to be an alignment between, or an alignment of the company and work for, the vision and the mission and the values they live and breathe by, and myself. Do I want to work for such an airline, a discount airline? Is this something I can truly represent? Because we're in the hospitality industry. It's about creating an experience, and you can only authentically create an experience when you can live and breathe it, when you can own it. So you are an ambassador for such a service-based, a service company, because it's all about the service that you create. From booking the flight through the check-in, through getting to the airplane, and everything. And also after sales. Yeah, that's actually my answer.
Yeah, no. So if we look at, say, personal branding then, because, and I know there's a lot of people that maybe they're coaches, they've got a few kind of balls in the air and they don't know, should I be branding myself as the person or as the company, or have all separate entities for different things that I'm doing? And there's everyone kind of battles with that one. So what's the best way to do it?
Okay, so there is a huge distinction between the business brand and the personal brand, and that lies in their interconnectedness. Yeah, but there is one, the essence of one deeply influences the other, especially when it comes to entrepreneurs. Building a personal brand identity always takes precedence for entrepreneurs, because the personal brand is serving as the foundation that shapes the identity of the business brand. So you always need to go first and create yourself or build yourself, or understand who you are as a person, because that is the start. And I've created also this 3-step branding blueprint for maybe academics or corporates or whoever who embark on their entrepreneurial journey. So there is a stepwise approach. It's always first the mindset. Yeah, you need to change mindset, especially for those who always served from an employee's mindset into a business owner's mindset. There's a lot happening. It's different. And then building based on that, you're building your personal brand. And on that, you build your company brand. Because the personal brand always acts as a guiding force. It's influencing the decisions and the communication that you have with your business brand. So there should be an intentional alignment of values, ethos, passion of the individual entrepreneur, and that should be also being authentically reflected in the business brand. Yeah. So that comes first, but also the business brand then later on enriches the personal brand as the entrepreneur navigates through the challenges and celebrates successes as well, right? And then learns these valuable lessons. You're also becoming stronger, better. You are evolving as a person, but your business brand is evolving with it. I was different in 2017, in 2020. And then when major external forces like a COVID happens, you have to, it makes something with you. It does something with you as a person. You might need to pivot with your services. So your business brand also evolves with you. So there's a nurturing on both ends. But at the end of the day, it's actually a marriage of authenticity and purpose. Yeah. That's who you are, and what you do, how you apply it in your business. Yeah. So I hope that is
Excellent. Yeah.
a story that really should also resonate and foster deeper connections with the clients. Yeah. So know who you are, and
So
it's also,
Go on.
when it comes to personal branding, it gives the human touch to a business, because a business is all about people, always, because we are creating that brand, we are behind that. So I'm a huge proponent of humanizing brands again.
So, like, if we talk about the connection, then you've got a lot of qualifications, and just curious, were you doing that when you were a flight attendant? Was it something before or afterwards you did on your study and then into the lecturing?
So I became a flight attendant after business school. I graduated from business school when I was 18. Then I left for the US for almost a year, to work here and work there and do all kinds of things and traveling. And because I wanted to be prepared for entry exam to become a flight attendant. At that time, it was not so easy. There were like hundreds of girls and also guys, of course. But then you were competing kind of, But I was chosen happily. And so then I flew, and then I knew I cannot do this forever. I was intellectually unchallenged. I have to say that. You reach a kind of a glass ceiling, and then you need other education, further education to climb a career ladder. So I thought, okay. And at that time, it was not flying and studying. There was no program like that. 27 years ago or something. So I had to choose jump plane without parachute or just to stay where I am. And I didn't want to shrink to something I was not. Because if you're not going for, if you know there is more potential in you, if you know there's another way of serving them, and you have done already this. And, I was kind of, it would be nice not to fly around like every other day. I was searching for a deeper meaning for myself. So, and that's why I jumped plane and landed in school at the university, studying international marketing management and business education. Did my master's, and then I wanted to go back to the airline and to being corporate, but at that time the airline industry consolidated. There were other firing than hiring, so there was a huge, consolidation of big airlines going on. And so they were streamlining. There was no room for me to go back into corporate. And then I did other jobs. And then I went back and did my PhD, my doctorate in international marketing and management. And then I started teaching. I started already teaching before, I have to say. But then, I just became a research assistant, and I was continuing to teach in the area of global marketing, global management, consumer behavior, market research, everything on a global level. So, and that's how I got a lot of insight into global companies and did further education at Harvard. So I really enjoyed that time also as a professor because and studying. Because it's just, I love to combine real life with facts. When I first studied in my master studies, after I flew for the airline, I was like totally stunned. I was like, oh my God, in theory, everything is actually the other way around. Yeah. Because when you have never studied and you're doing a job and you're growing into that and you're climbing the career ladder, you do as you think. You do I did not have the education, and then I at the end I acquired the theoretical input in order to bring both ends together, and I think that's the beauty. And I think that it is somehow unique to me as well. I mean, there are others out there that are similar, but studying and then being a professor and teaching, and at the same time having experienced a lot in practice and bringing that together, and now I can coach and guide others, because we all have everything in us anyway. We just don't know how to access that and connect the dots. Yeah, I think this is something really special, and also my traveling experience. And also, you need to have a lot of courage. You need to be curious. You need to be creative in order to solve all the problems. You cannot be a problem thinker. You need to be a solution thinker. You need to have solutions right away, because they're time and pressure. You need to be done in 5 minutes or by that time. There is no other way. There is no way out. So I'm used to think like that. So I'm trained to be very quick when it comes to that. But you also need to have a foundation of know-how. And so I'm bringing all these loose ends together, and as you see, my life is not just a straight line, and assumingly unconnected, stories that make my journey, but at the end of the day make complete sense. But it's sometimes hard to make sense of it, when you are in the middle of this whole mess.
I think because I know that when I came out of college, when I was working, I'd done a load of courses, did another diploma and everything. I think after you've been in the workforce, you appreciate it 10 times more and you realize the value and you start thinking and applying it to what you've done. Whereas a lot of people, unfortunately, they're students and they don't even care. They're just thinking about going for a drink and just kind of chugging through the day. I think a lot of people they should try to get them in the workforce within a year, take them out of college and then bring them back.
Exactly. And for me, it was like in my bag, I only have that much money saved. I have to be quick in studying because I need to go back and earn money. Yeah, it was not just like my parents support me and the government is paying for everything, because in Europe you don't need to pay you don't have this study expenses and enrollment expenses and so people, I think they're missing the responsibility and feeling not feeling this accountability they have, and when you were in a workforce and you are much clearer about what you want and why you do it, and there's a timeline. I only have money until that time, and I have to make it happen in that time. Yeah, and I think also you need to have a lot of discipline, and I'm glad I have it. Otherwise, I would have never gone through all of that. Discipline and believe in yourself that you somehow can manage.
Can you remember your mindset? Because there's a lot of people that are kind of in that situation. They've realized whether the job isn't fulfilling or, like you said, reach the ceiling but to make the jump, because you've got your monthly salary and that you've got like how because there's people that are kind of stuck. And how would you kind of touch on the mindset to make the jump?
To make the jump means that you have to have a vision or something that drives you. And for me, it's always the passion. The passion and the talent. But at that time, you don't know you have the talent. You go for the passion and the belief in yourself. And there is another thing. The pain that you're currently in has to be stronger. It has to be stronger than how shall I say, than wanting to stay in that situation. So there needs to be a certain degree of pain that you say, no, enough is enough. And for me, there were certain things that were coming together I was not happy with. And also, I was afraid of the future staying, because I knew the airlines were consolidating, and I don't know which kind of airline would take us over, and then what's going to happen with me. And then at that time, it was also that our contract terminated when I were to become 36 years, because our boss at that time wanted to only employ young flight attendants.
That's scary, isn't it?
Who that now anymore? But at the time it was actually 32 at that time, but they prolonged it to 36. So I was like, what am I doing afterwards? I just have this business school, that's it. And that was then 16, 17, 18 years ago. I mean, a lot of things change in the meantime, right? So, and I was like, no. And the desire I knew there was more in me. There was the desire to serve differently and the desire to at least try it. And I knew also one thing. You will never regret what you did, but you might regret, or most probably you will regret. I was not there yet. At the end of your life, what you did not. And I knew I don't want to end up regretting what I did not. So I jumped.
Yeah. Before we touch on your retreat, actually, as a professor, because that's something that I always liked, how did you interact with the students? Because I suppose it's harder now with everybody on their phones, but still there was always a distraction anyway. How did you kind of make sure that you were connecting with the students?
I was always more the exotic professor. I did not look like a traditional professor. So for me, my students were like my crew, you know? It's like they know exactly, I was a very demanding professor. They know exactly that I'm asking, there's requirements and that need to be fulfilled. I want this, yeah, but I also am a human being. And I had a really good relationship with my students. And if I see someone is really trying hard, I support. If someone is using the system, I do not support. Yeah. And I still have wonderful relationships with my former students. I also have a podcast. My first guests were my students. And they still call me, or hey, I'm in Austria. Let's have lunch together. Or, it's just beautiful to also hear, yeah, and then to see how they climbed the career ladder. Yeah. So I think it's you need to define what kind of relationships you want to have with the people you surround yourself. And students are obviously people. If you're a professor, you are surrounded by, right? And this is so important. You need to first figure out who you are in order to have those relationships in that way that you just asked me. It's about being your authentic self and also setting a certain standard. So you have a certain role as a professor. Yeah, you have certain standards for yourself, and that should apply by interacting with each other. And then you have also your brand style. That's who you are. Yeah, how you make others feel. And you need to be aware of that. And you cannot find that outside. You only find that first inside. And that happens with not only people, but also with organizations. An organization is only as good as it is lived with inside. It's the culture that you create as people, as a workforce. And that radiates to the outside world. And also, if you are happy with yourself, if you are in alignment, body, mind, and soul, yeah, then you radiate that. You have a different energy that is going out. And I also have to say, there's one thing that that is underestimated, and that self-care is part of branding. It's something that is overlooked. It's a branding strategy, actually, yeah, because it's the way of how you treat yourself. It's lead your ship first, so that then you can lead others as a business owner, as an executive, as a manager, as someone who is superior. It always starts within. So branding starts always from within. And that's what is actually one of my mantras. Branding starts with mindset. It starts from within, because when you think something, you feel something, and then you take action. And then, yeah, at the end of the day, that results in something. Yeah, your actions. So, yeah, so that's all connected, right?
Yeah. So you mentioned your students were the first on your podcast. I believe it's Brand Talks is the podcast. It's over 5 years now, so you've passed the 5-year mark. So congratulations on that. So you might tell the listeners what the show is. That's what exactly you're covering in it. Obviously branding, but
So branding on all the different levels of where branding happens. It's at the beginning, since it was tightly connected also with, I was still teaching on the executive level. And then I tried also to kind of integrate that. So I had owners of global brands, CEOs, Then I also have people who were corporate and embarked on their entrepreneurial journey. So it's about the branding journey itself of how people evolve over time from a corporate, a leader, from leadership branding into entrepreneurial branding. But then also how they built their business and built their business. And when it comes to, so what kind of meaning to it do you attach to your logo, to your tagline? Why this name? There's a lot of whys behind, because every logo and every color that you choose is rich of meaning. Every brand has this richness. If you have a story to it, you just don't give it a color. There is a thought behind it. There is a story behind it. And it can also change or evolve over time. And then the duality of a brand, that is the rational part, what is it? And the emotional part, why you're doing that, who is it for? What is it that attracts a customer, the way of how you feel others. And so then I also have brand designers as a guest, because that's something I'm not doing when it comes to the finishing of a logo. I guide my clients there. It should be bold. That's the font type. That's the colors. But I'm not the one. I'm not the designer who has all the programs. I'm a strategist, and designing is executing it, and putting it on a website. Of course, I can also set up web pages for my webinars and everything, but I'm not the programmer and the designer who is actually then putting it, the finishing lines, right? So yeah, and all the topics that are important for branding, having maybe an AI expert talking about things, or someone who is a podcaster, or a podcast, something like you do, helping podcasters with their work. So you also have a lot of insights in what is important. The latest statistics, to apply that. I know a lot, but I'm not the expert in it. I'm more the one who applies. I'm the host, and then there I have a guest, or I'm the guest, like right now. But there's always someone who knows a little bit more. And that's what I love. I love to listen to stories and how other people do it. And I think that's how we learn best, is by listening to other people's stories, own personal branding stories, companies' branding stories, other experts that can contribute to building a brand. And that's about it.
And what I saw as well, and I haven't seen that before, but you put out, I don't know if you do all of them, but some of them, like when you're being interviewed, you put that on your show as well, which is,
sometimes.
yeah, because I thought that's kind of clever as well, because sometimes people will extract something from you that you mightn't have touched on, and it's a good way of doing it. Like, I mean, I always allow people to take the stuff, but not everyone does, but I think it's a great way of, because you've already spent the time, that recording.
Exactly. And, I've learned that from the big ones like Jay Shetty and Louis House. They all, then I was invited here and there and put it on their show. And when you have this agreement with the other person, and we do it vice versa very often, then it's absolutely fine. It's about repurposing. It's about content. It's about putting yourself out there, because maybe people don't just watch it on your show, but maybe also watch it on my channel. So it's cross-pollination, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've done that, but so many people, they don't want nobody else to have it. And I think I prefer if it gets out there. It doesn't matter if it comes back to me. It's if the message is good and helping somebody.
And it's always fair then to link back to the original source, because you then also have an appearance on my website. I not only do a blog later on when you have published that on my website, but I don't know if we agree on that, then I have this on my show and link it back to your show. So that's how it works. And I think the algorithm picks that up as well.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I wanted to touch on is your retreats. And I mean, I've been to different events, and what I love is kind of going to some place and you just feel the area gives you positivity and everything. And I was looking at the pictures of where you had your retreat, and I was like, ooh, because I like where I'm living now. I'm living in a lovely house. But when I looked at that, I was like, ooh, I'd love to live in something like that. It's a beauty. So you might touch on I Am Becoming, I believe is what it's called. Yeah, the retreats. You might touch on exactly what you're coming and the location as well.
Yeah. And this is part of becoming, the best version of yourself as a brand, but also as a company at the end of the day. But it's not only you, but how you surround yourself with and in. It's the environment and it's the people. And because we are social creatures, we are, interacting with other people. And it's also about the places where you create, where you just be and work. And it makes a difference if you are in a small little cubicle without windows, or if you are somewhere in nature, or, I mean, even though you have maybe little money yet, yeah, then you can at least create a surrounding that supports you. And when it comes to my services, I do not only one-on-one or webinars online. I also created now these retreats. So this is actually something that I want to also repurpose, and I want to live my last chapter of the life with. This is why my whole journey in my life made sense. All the different chapters now put together in this service that I'm offering, and that are retreats. So 5 day. Especially in Austria. That's the specific location. It's a 5 day immersive retreat that is designed for high achieving women. And also accomplished professionals who are ready to pause, reflect, and realign. And this is, and I call it the sacred place. It has such a magical energy where people, maximum 8 people I'm gathering, are finding the space. It's a container where we move from questioning to clarity, from role to essence, and from living on autopilot to leading with authenticity and intention. It's where you can lean back and enjoy, where you can take me time, but also have the time in a group setting, in a community, to share. And I think that the beauty of the learning is also when we discuss about things, when we share stories, and there's a lot of growth involved, and a lot of aha is created, and of a eureka, and it's really a 5 days where you experience a powerful blend of first the personal brand, a strategy. So you refine your next chapter by that. And it's about the inner leadership practices that help you to really to align achievement but that we have already with your authenticity, with your becoming. And at the end of the day, it's this soulful introspection that you do alone, but also in the discussion, in the discourse with others, to reconnect with who you truly are becoming. You're not becoming someone different. You're becoming just more of you. It has been you all the time, but in all this noisy world where we perform and need to perform, where we need to blend in and take on masks and hide behind a facade, we forget about ourselves. And this is a beautiful get together where you find yourself again. Yeah. It's where accomplished women basically pause the noise, step into stillness, just the stillness that is up there, and also discover not just what's next, but who you are becoming. Yeah, I think that rounds it up very well.
And I
And
think I just saw the views as well. So that gets you into your creative zone when you see beautiful views like that.
yeah. And it's, a beautiful blend of doing the work. You really like working on your becoming with vision boards, and there is audios, and then, if- understanding what your big why is. It's about mindset, and then also blending in with a yoga class, a meditation, and then we do forest bathing. We go on outdoor cheap off-road cheap rides, and then we go to a chocolate factory where we just die by chocolate. It's also part of it, and you want to be a girl, not always that polished woman. You just want to have fun, and then you take the time, sit outside at the fireplace, or you go to the sauna outside. There is a glass sauna, so you see the whole nature and the whole valley, and you're sitting in this sauna, and right next is the pool. So if you go there at 10 o'clock in the night, it's all lighted up. It's just, beautiful. And also the food is in alignment with what we do every day. It's healthy food, and we cook together, and we do our granola by ourselves. So it's just really, really nice. Yeah. And it's an international audience. So people coming from LA, from other parts of the US, from Austria, from Germany. So it's also, you learn, you mingle also when it comes to cultures. You get an understanding of the different ways and the different challenges we have. And then we figure out at the end of the day, oh my God, we are so similar. Yeah. We all
With
have,
things like that, you make great friendships as well when you do an immersion like that.
yeah. And I'm planning my next one. I mean, it's already done, the planning. Just need to do the changes on the website. So it's coming up next year in June 24th till the 28th. And I take 8 people.
Okay. And just finally, because you're an author as well, you're, I don't know, the name of the book is Significant Women. I don't know, is there other books, but I saw that one.
Significant Women, I don't know whether you can see it, and also Daring. Here we go. Daring Metamorphosis. It's about my journey that I went through. So I think there is no time to talk about this because it goes very deep. What happened to me when I was young, but I'm describing it there. And that's part of becoming. This is another level of meaning when it's about becoming, from invisible to becoming visible. And I think a lot of people feel invisible, even though they are not. They're very accomplished, but still they don't allow that. There is sometimes there's this internal conflict. I want to be seen, but I still want to hide. Yeah, and I talk about that in the books and with my chapter. And it's also part of the retreat. It's about being visible and then allowing yourself to be. I see that with a lot of women. And it comes to give yourself permission of being who you are. No, I cannot do this because of that. No, this is not no. Yes, it is. Yeah. It's we are holding ourselves back. We are the ones, and we gotta give ourselves the permission to be and to shine. And yeah.
Beautiful. No, listen, thoroughly enjoyed it. You might let the listeners know where they can find you.
Yeah, they can find me on my website, BridgetBrands.com. I think you're going to put it in the show notes. And I'm extremely busy on LinkedIn. I'm putting a lot of content out there and keeping people up to date about what I'm doing, my retreats, and also my thoughts. And sometimes I share a little bit about my private life, but basically I'm pretty much private. I share that when I'm, with my clients on a retreat, because I also have my story to tell, and this is something that connects on this visceral level. But sometimes I also share something online. Not much, but I do.
And just with LinkedIn, because I go through lots of preparation for things. You have a lot of testimonials, reviews that people have given, a lot, and about 70 or something, all positive reviews, which you rarely see. Not many people have something like that. So I encourage people to check that out.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm also on Instagram. Not all the time, but I am putting something out there.
Okay. So I'll make sure I'll put all the links both on the audio and the video. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Roy. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
No problem.
So that's all for the speaking and the meditation podcast. You find all our episodes on speakingpodcast.com, meditationpodcast.org. Find everything about me. Scan the QR code or go to roycollin.com. If you're looking for virtual assistants, go to va.world. And as I mentioned, I started my school community. The link for that will be in the show notes. Sure to give us a thumbs up, 5-star rating, share with your friends. And when you check out Brigitte's podcast, do the exact same. And if you get her book, do the same, because it helps and it pushes out to more people. And as you see, very positive, and what she's doing is helping the world. Until next week, take care.